bring that. Remove the music. Whoop, remove a little bit too much there. There we go. Kill the music. Add the comments. Good afternoon, everybody. We're just about ready to go. And let's kill the tomato talk. Well, let's bring back the tomato talk. Let's make it small. We're gonna tuck it away. Oh, wrong way. Whoop, wrong way. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Let's get this out of there. All right, so here's the question of the day. What's your limit? Do you really know? You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. We limit ourselves, and that's a problem. Boy, oh boy, is that a problem. So what do we do? How do we continue on? How do we, oh, I don't know, continue on that path and find our limit, find out what we could really achieve? Couple of things have to happen. Number one, got to have faith in ourselves, without a doubt. Got to put the horse blinders on. Yeah, New York City. I don't even know if they still have the horses in there. Anyhow, you get the horses. Horses will pull those buggies in and say, put the horse blinders on. This way they don't get distracted by the cars. They don't see anything else. The only thing they're focused on is the road ahead. We like that? Do we actually operate with the horse blinders on? No. Hey, maybe you do. Maybe you're totally focused. You just know exactly where you're going. You don't let anything get in your way. That's it. You just like zoom. That's it. That's it. Nothing. Everything else is garbage, is immaterial. It's just don't pay attention to it. Nothing. That's crazy. You kind of give up a life doing that. You don't really want to do that, but I know it's hard because sometimes you get fixated on an idea and it's like you just have it on top of your mind all the time, every day, all the time. You go to sleep, you dream about it. Crazy stuff, man. I got to tell you, wake up in the morning, say, hey, you know what? That's an idea. And then something else triggers you. You're like, whoa. Well, that's good. That means you're on the right path. But still, what is your limit? What is your limit? I know some of the things that kind of destroy me, get me so frustrated. Even today was one of those days because I knew yesterday there was 3 things I wanted to accomplish today. 3 concrete things. And I'm in the car with my wife, and the wife with my car. I'm in the car with my wife. There we go. And that could have been edited if I knew how to edit. But it's like, I couldn't for the life of me remember what those 3 things were. Couldn't for the life. I'm like, oh, man, what a waste of time. What a waste of time. And then I had to find some information too. I had to find some information about something else, which I thought I had it really organized really well inside of a folder. And I forgot what folder. And it's like, was it intuitive? No, and it wasn't. And it's like, I could tell you, why do you get so frustrated with this stuff? Why am I talking about it now? Because it is unbelievably difficult to achieve your limit. If you keep getting mired in this crap that's going along there. Mr. King, good afternoon. So what do? Well, keeping a little handy dandy notebook. Yeah, I'm a Blues Clues fan. Keep that handy dandy little notebook by your side, right? Stick something in your pocket, whatever it is. I got a relatively small one, carried around most of the time, not all of the time. So today it's like gotta put one in the car. Then you got to remember to take those notes out, put it someplace, whatever. But now we're here. And this is the point of the matter is that if we're not organized enough, then those things become just frustrating. So no. So how do you stay focused on your goal? Get organized. Get organized as much as you possibly can. Take the weekend, take a week, take a month if you have to, take whatever if you got to. Call for help. Hello, I need help. Yeah, call these home organizers. I know you're working from home. Or call a business organizer. Hey, that's fine. Contact a business strategist. Perhaps a coach, maybe not. It depends what they're coaching on. And all of this stuff really depends what they're coaching on. But that's why I started with home organizer. Give that one some thought. Home organizer. So if we're working from home and it's truly business, flat out, it's your business, stuff like that, you know what? Then work in a business strategist, a coach, or whatever, into the whole thing, is important. But if you're working from home, you still got the home things going on. And this is where I think maybe a home organizer, especially one that's actually grown with the times, a home organizer might be just like a huge, huge help. Huge help. Because here, most of the distractions, where are your distractions coming from? They're coming from home. You're home. They're coming from home. It's easy to get distracted. Take the dog out for a walk. Necessary or a distraction? Depends on point of view on that one. From the dog's point of view, it's necessary. My point of view, yeah, all right. So it's a distraction, or it's exercise, or it's justifiable, whatever, that kind of thing. But when the dog comes prances in over here at 11 to 12 o'clock, it's like, oh my gosh. And that becomes a distraction. That refrigerator, that becomes a distraction, doesn't it? So, and then we'll say, well, you got to do a wash or run an errand and stuff like that. It'll only take 20 minutes. You pop out to go. The next thing you know, I mean, you've broken up the day. So a home organizer? Where to keep that file? Can you really carve out a room? If you're lucky enough to carve out a room, maybe you need to carve out a space in your house. Maybe you just need a curtain around something, or your computer. If you're using the same computer, I got one computer here. I got one computer, got a couple of different efforts on there. It's like, how do you keep it separate? Yeah, separate and organized. Maybe that home organizer person would make sense. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a home organizer person. Maybe it's someone who understands the computer setup, and how to separate files and how to categorize files and how to find those files once you've done it, or to find the folders or the files inside of the folders for yourself. A couple of great people come to mind. Rob Kratzky, if you're using a Microsoft system, Rob Kratzky is like the guy when it comes to all these little programs and stuff that's in there. Matter of fact, he's got an event coming up too that I don't know if I pulled a photo up on that one, but he's got an event coming up that may be really of interest to you when it comes to getting that, keeping yourself organized and also utilizing it. But I really think that happens to be one of the places that we get, that I get, distracted on different things. Let's see if we have it here. And I don't think I've got it posted just yet, but we'll certainly get that. We'll certainly get that going for you. This way you know what it is. Let's try one other spot. And this goes into I don't have it as organized as I possibly could, but Rob Kratzky. We'll look it up this way. All right. We'll see if we can find it here. But anyways, he's got an event coming up that you can attend that really has to do with, using the Microsoft system in a great way. So that would be one way of doing it. Let's see if I can find it real quick. If not, we're just going to move on to something else. No, we'll find it. I'm on his site over here. Next thing you know, it's another one of these car things that keep popping up. All right, so here's the other thing to do there. Mr. Kozlov. Love that photo this morning, by the way. That was great. The shadow on the beach. Good stuff there, Mike. You love those photos, Karen. Good to see you there, too, as always. So, all right, so now we got to keep ourselves organized, and some of it's really simple stuff. It's like, where do you get frustrated over the course of the day? Here's your actionable idea number one. One. All right, it'd be easy to say, well, get organized. Oh, all right, that's a great something to do, but like, where do you begin? Well, bring out your handy dandy little notebook over here, and then throughout the day, write down those things that piss you off, that really get you frustrated. It's like, man, I can't believe this. I mean, I got a couple of them. I know it's my folders. They're just not as clear and they're not as concise as they should be. Also, even this whole thing with Robert, right? It's like, I should have had that done. And it's like, all right, just put it in a folder. Put the picture in the folder. This way I know, and I got a current event folder, which is where I just looked. And this way I know, boom, 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 boom. So I got to get into a true habit. If I see something that I may or may not want to talk about, toss it in over there. Right? Because I did mention to you, I want to get this thing more organized and more on track. So that's it. This is all part of that whole process. So keep a book. One, keep a book, and then write down those things that frustrate you throughout the day. It might be a long list, whatever. And then afterwards, you can go back and take a look to see what you can actually do. You can't move the refrigerator. It's there. All right. It is just there. No question about it. And maybe you can't stop the dog from coming in, but you can make sure that whatever room you're in is clean. Is clean. This way there's less stuff that's around there. And look, if you've got laundry that needs to be folded and you put it on the, put it in the couch in the room you're in, and then you're looking at it all the time, you're like, let me just fold it because, let me just get it out of the way. Okay. But not during the quote unquote work hours that you've set aside for yourself. So get yourself organized. Write down that list. Keep it going. Here's the other thing. All right. Much more on a much more positive note is try something and ask somebody for advice. Advice. Had this situation today. All right. Is that I'm going to phrase this, and I don't have the details of everything yet. Right. So couple of big things coming up. I'm very excited. But I wanted to reach out to a industry. You could probably figure out what kind of industry, but I wanted to reach out to an industry as a whole, but a lot of them are smaller companies, and I don't have the time to make 1,001 phone calls. Getting an email list, I don't know if that's available or not, or how easy it is to do. So I called this group that was like an oversight group, industry contact, dissemination of stuff. And I've done this with a couple of different things. And I called them up and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. And I told them something that that's coming up, informational and all good. And then I asked for advice. There we go. This is where you're going to find out what your limit is. And you're going to find that there is no limit. Or you just got to keep raising that bar higher, Elizabeth. There's always some limit to something someplace, but some of these things, it's like I don't understand what I don't know. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like you work on your house. Here's another little story on this one. I'll go back to it. Here's a house. All right, tell our story. Why not? I can't tell your story. You're not here. That's why I need to have guests. Otherwise, you got to hear my stories. So we bought a house. Not this one. It was two houses ago. Yeah, we keep the real estate agents happy, don't we? Yeah. Anyhow, 2 houses ago. So my son was he was young. He was young, and we moved into the house. He was a couple of years old, and we wanted to make sure his room was really nice and all the rest of that stuff. So, we did what any parent would do is we painted it. We had the room painted, we put a new carpet and all the rest of that stuff. I got the furnishing and whatever he needed, and all the rest of that stuff was great. It was great. Until you walked out of the room, and then you're like, wow, this room looks so much better than this hallway. So we should paint the hallway. Okay. So we paint the hallway. And then it's like, oh, well, the doors are old looking. I was like, well, okay. And with wood doors, nice wood doors. We contacted this guy. He sanded them up, shellacked them, stained them, shellacked them. I was like, they were great. And then the next thing you know, there was another room. And then the next thing you know, there was another room. So what was the limit when it came to doing that house? It starts small, but you don't know. All right. We did one room with the best of intentions. And then all of a sudden, once that was done, it led to something else, which led to something else, which led to something else, which led to something else. None of this stuff was bad. It was a long-term project, but none of it was bad. Let's equate that to the business world, right? So I had these issues like, how do I contact all of these companies? I don't really know how to do it. So they gave me, well, who speaks to all of these companies, right? Who is the one that speaks to all the independent companies on Long Island? This is a Long Island effort. So I looked it up, and then I found a national organization. Well, that's not going to do me too much good. And I looked for local chapters, and lo and behold, local chapter. Contacted that person. And I told them what was going on. I said, look, I got this thing coming up. It was a radio show that I wanted to let them know about, see if that was something that could be shared because it was in the industry. informational. It was yes, and he was very talkative too. Very brought up some of the same stuff I've been talking about. Pieces of it. Didn't have the whole story, and that. I was like, "Can I ask you a question?" And this is where I write in the front over there. Ask questions. Can I ask you a question? I said, "Look, I'd like to reach out to all of these companies about an event that's coming up, and like, I really don't know how I could physically do that. There's so many of them. I can't make a phone call to everybody. I mean, it's you got 10,000 phone calls. Like, I don't know. Do you have any suggestions? Not can you help me? Do you have any suggestions? Hmm. He said, Brian, this is what I'd like to do, and I could do it. He's going to wind up helping me out. How cool is that? So where was my limit? I had a limit of calling. I can't call 10,000 companies. I'm back in the day. I did my share of cold calling, but at best, I got to maybe, and this was nobody picking up the phone. It's 300 calls in the course of a day or something like that. Used to go in on a Saturday, just like bang away on the phone. It's like, yeah, amazing what people tell you when you're cold calling. And they got cold calling lists and all this that stuff that do not call, so it's a little bit more problematic. But I was calling in this case, I'm calling businesses, so that's not really it. Getting phone numbers not a problem and stuff like that. Getting a list of companies and phone numbers probably not a problem. I was going to actually work on that today, as well. But I called it, but there's no way. There's no way if I have to call, if I, call 400 businesses and trying to get to 400 calls in a day, trying to get to 10,000 business, that's a lot of phone calls, and that's a lot. Realistically speaking, that would take me, it would probably take me months, and then it defeats the whole purpose. I mean, I got some stuff I want to share that's quicker. So I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, but I made that phone call. And this is where you should make that phone call. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. Boy, oh boy, does that sound like a salesman kind of comment. But the answer to that is, yeah, but you're not even selling. Pick up the phone, ask for advice, ask for their opinion. You don't have to say, I don't know how to do it. Tell them whatever your challenge was. My challenge was calling 10,000 businesses. I don't even know if that's an exact number, but it didn't matter. He knew what I was talking about. So now all of a sudden you could reach your limit, whatever you perceive it as, a lot quicker. And then what's going to happen too is just like that painted room, it then becomes a painted hallway and then stained doors. But it also means that you're reaching out to more and more people by asking for help. So ask for help. Where can you go to ask for help? Formally, you could join a mastermind group. Formally, you could join one of the networking groups. Formally, you could attend the Small Business Development Center, which by all means you certainly can. I do actually have that one lined up over here. I think that is our next slide. By gosh, it is. There you go. The Business Solutions Roundtable. That'll be next February. I forgot the date of it, but let's make it bigger. There we go. Now we can read it. First Thursday of every month, and it is going to be February 4th, I believe. Make it February 2nd. And Joel Kronberg is going to be speaking about that. They're going to talk about mentoring, get involved with schools and things along that line. So that should be a whole lot of that definitely be a great experience for everybody about mentoring in the schools and things like that. But ask for help at the Small Business Development Center, and also. And some people have mixed emotions on this one, and it depends, upon your industry and all kinds of other considerations that go along with it. But what about asking your customers? What about that? What about asking the people that you're working with to say, hey, look, this is what I'm thinking about doing, and you know, there's a couple of considerations in here. Some fine, some not really sure how to address or how to go about doing, or there's a time constraint in it. What do you think? How do you think I can get in touch with more people like you, or more businesses in your category, or perhaps a complementary business or whatever? Ask the question. They may actually become your best referral source. That's good to give you somebody to speak to. But they also might come up with this idea that you just never thought of. I mean, I got lucky with this guy because I never imagined he was going to be able to do it, and he said yes. But when you speak to your customers, you just never know. You might even speak to those folks that have decided not to use your services. Maybe there's a conversation in there too where you could figure out maybe why they're not using your services. And it may be something just timing's off, that kind of thing. They might be appreciative of it. They might actually be appreciative of the fact that you're calling because you care about you, not them, you, because you want to improve yourself on an ongoing basis. It's like that, that's that should be an impressive quality to us when you're speaking to somebody. Hey, look, we had some guy pick up leaves over here. It's like he could have done a better job. Not picking up the leaves. He did a fine job picking up the leaves, but preparing for the size of the project and pricing it and everything like that. He he didn't see some of the stuff that we had, and so that was a little bit off, in that respect. All right, so I had a conversation with him, about that. All worked out fine, and that kind of thing. But maybe it's the same with you. Maybe you're in a situation where you are a consultant, and your expectation is you go in 3 meetings, you're kind of on your way, you're not looking for long-term projects, and then the person's kind of keeping you along. It's like, can you stay an extra half hour today? There was another service too, is a house cleaning service. It's like, they needed a little extra time, but you don't know until you show up in the house. Maybe that home organizer, he expects it to be, or she expects it to be an hour-long process, or maybe 2 hours the initial sit down and an hour the follow up. I don't know, but it turns out to be more. It's like, is there feedback needed on both sides of the coin over there? With that one, because if they just came in a half hour and left, they're like, really? And if they call you back, it's like, oh, you decided not to hire me. Why? I was like, well, you didn't give me a chance to even tell you what was going on. Maybe a half hour is not a good amount of time for a sit down meeting. Maybe that person should be charging a $30 or $50 or $100, whatever price range, introductory sit down. What'll happen if you are the customer, you're going to spend $100? You're going to be much more focused in what you're talking about because now you're spending money. And what about the other person that's looking to be hired? All right, they're getting $100, all well and good, but they also know that the other person has got the money to hire them to perform whatever, services, organizational services that are needed too, becomes a qualifier. So is that kind of a win in both spots? The answer is yes. And look, maybe just a 1 hour sit down for $100 is what one needs. It's just a quick fix. It's not a 3-month project. But it's the feedback. So don't be afraid to ask for feedback. Don't limit yourself in that respect because that's not going to do you any good either. So think about that. Think about that. Think about where you could get advice from without putting yourself in a position where, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. Can you help me? That's not really a sign of strength. It's like, okay, I wonder if I can get your opinion on this. I've been working on this project. I need to contact, 10,000 businesses. Got a time frame over here. I could pick up the phone, but that doesn't sound like the most efficient way. Email, if they don't really know me and they don't know me, what do you think? How would you approach something like that? Hey, man, you're talking to that person as an equal. As an equal. And then you go from there. So that's it. All right, let's see what next slide we got coming up over here. Maybe we come up with actionable number 3. All right, so we got the notebook, and we got 3, and then was that, so attend a cooking event. I'm not sure how to filter that into this whole thing here, but the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. We have an event coming up. If you've been diagnosed with Crohn's or colitis or one of the support things, and you want to learn how to cook a little bit differently, a little bit better, with simple ingredients, you definitely let me know. You got to be affiliated with the disease, though, in some respect. We may do something a little bit beyond that with here. What was I going to say? The sky's the limit. So I'm going to get a chance to meet Chef Robert. Chef Robert owns this restaurant, and it is really amazing. Well, what he's got going on over there. It's in Seacliff. It's Malden and Magnetti, Magnet, and he's been diagnosed. He's a chef, and he wants to do this cooking demonstration. And we're going to talk about different substitutions in there too, to explain how to cook and how to add flavor to things with simple ingredients and simple cooking. That he sent out the list over here of ingredients, and not one of them is more than 5 items long. It's not a big deal, and it's nothing really fancy when it comes to the ingredients either. So that's fine. Substitutions, without a doubt, certainly within the group of the Crohn's colitis world. Some of them are vegan, so the meat doesn't work. Some of the kosher, so pork chops with his cooking, so that doesn't work. It's got to be something else. Dairy, non-dairy, that's another one that's a substitution in there just as well. But you can do all of these things. I mean, I've tried cooking with different stuff, and I am not a good cook, and so I'm not going to give advice on this one. I definitely have limitations there, but I don't mind experimenting, and there's different ways of doing things. So maybe this will be a lot more fun. Go experiment a little bit more so and find out what's going on. All right, so maybe that's actionable item number 3. Experiment. Take a chance on something. Take a chance. You don't have to tell people. When I cook, I don't talk about it too much. Maybe a little bit, but I don't talk about it too much, especially the things that are failures. Oh, there it is, smack in the back of the head, but or learning experiences as that goes. So that'd be kind of cool. All right, February 19th, we get the Daytona 500. That's at one of the VFW halls over in Patchogue, and then our open house at Toastmasters. That is going to be on February 23rd. Thursday, February 23rd. That is actually a live, in-person, stand-up human being, or sit down, Doug, human beings at Stony Brook University. We will be physically getting together. It will not be a hybrid meeting. It's not online meeting. Maybe we'll take a few still photos, but there's no video. There's no nothing. There's just live and in person, that kind of thing. So really excited about it. We're having it as an open house. We're looking to continue to grow the club. I will be more involved with Toastmasters as that goes along. That's one of those crazy things. Big supporter of Toastmasters. I think it's great. Absolutely think it's terrific. But I just got to be careful as I say things. So I go to a meeting and I want to oh yeah, we should be doing more about marketing, cross marketing the clubs and stuff like that. And we got this event coming up. That was the Miller Business Center. And Don Ramad came, Sandra Albanese came. We spoke about Toastmasters, ran across a bunch of friends of Toastmasters that are looking to promote it within their club. So that's one of the things I want to get out. That was one of the 3 things to do today, in that respect. So I go there, I was like, don't we have anything for the district? Can't we do more? Stuff like that. It's like, be careful when you do that, friends. Be careful. Because when you start giving advice, and you give advice to people that have a little bit of a time crunch on their own, all of a sudden it's like, Brian, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm like, oh no, just please say no. Just say no. Say no. That's going to be my new banner. You're going to see it behind me. Say no. Something to that effect. But they were smart about it. She said, Brian, we've been thinking about doing a podcast and interviewing our fellow Toastmaster members and clubs about what they're doing. You'd be great for that. And I'm thinking, oh, man. Be careful, my friends. Be careful. Every once in a while, giving advice all of a sudden brings you in as part of the team. But remember the flip side of that too. When you ask for advice, sometimes that brings in people that'll be part of your team. It can be a win-win situation. I'm hoping that they do most of the work and I just do the interview, and that's fine. But in your own goals, keeping it organized, don't limit yourself. Write down those things that are frustrating you throughout the day and ask people. Don't ask and say, hey, I'm struggling. Bring them into the conversation about what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, many times we'll say, you're going to find people that really want to help you succeed. And it becomes a fantastic thing. And that is why you will speak well, speak often, and live inspired. People will follow you. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Have an absolutely incredible day. It's warming up a little bit outside too. So get outside. Go outside and do something. And enjoy. All right. I am, as they say, out of here. Let's hit with a little bit of music and a little rock music to take us out. I'm going to take